Well, guys, it looks like the Minnesota telenovela saga between them and Jimmy Butler has officially come to an end as the 76ers have come in and grabbed Jimmy Butler from what seemed like a crazy rumor, conspiracy theories type of thing going on in Minnesota with Jimmy Butler, Karl-Anthony Towns, and Andrew Wiggins. But the first thing we have to look at is what caused this? Why did it happen so fast? Well, the first thing, of course, was that Jimmy Butler wanted to be traded at Media Day in the beginning of the season, right? Remember him? He was like, you know what? I don't think it's going to work out between me and Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. I think it's better if Minnesota goes in a different way and trades me. And Tom Thibodeau, instead of being like, okay, Jimmy, we'll trade you. We'll see what we can do. We obviously would love you to be a part of the team, but at the same time, we understand your concerns. But instead, Tom Thibodeau and the owner agreed to trading him. He agreed to saying, you know what, Jimmy, it's fine to move on. But instead, Tom Thibodeau said this: hey, we can fix this. We can work on something. We can try and fix it. We can try and tweak some things. Maybe Jimmy and Karl-Anthony Towns can coexist as one another. I think there were still issues as to who the number one guy was. We know Andrew Wiggins came out last season and said he wanted to be the number one guy. And it just led to this chaotic mess that we are in now. Of course, there are some other rumors and other conspiracies, which we won't be going over because I think it's a little too personal. But it caused Karl-Anthony Towns' numbers to go way down. His confidence is all the way at sub-zero. Meanwhile, Jimmy Butler is demanding. He's taking back-to-backs off. To me, the Minnesota Timberwolves did a horrible job in really telling Jimmy Butler, or really putting their foot down on Jimmy Butler and saying, all right, we can allow you to do these things. We can allow you to use our practice facilities. We can allow you to work out in our gyms, but we just can't allow you to be part of the team because right now it's ruining team chemistry. And instead of Tom Thibodeau saying, let's trade him, let's try and focus on the guys that we have around us, he wanted to fix this, and look at where they're at right now. They're probably one of the poorest teams in terms of execution-wise, in terms of play style. It's very, very bad. Although there was some great spotlight moments with Derrick Rose, obviously 50-point game, playing well, going back to a little bit of his former MVP self, there's still the rumors and the memes of the Timberwolves. There's no getting around it. Tom Thibodeau absolutely destroyed this team and ruined his confidence, and it will cost him his job. I've said this before in numerous videos. I think he needs to get fired because it's not fair to both Jimmy Butler, Andrew Wiggins, Karl-Anthony Towns. Even though I don't like Andrew Wiggins' game, it's not fair to him that you have created this culture, created this atmosphere to where these two guys aren't able to flourish and be themselves. I feel like Tom Thibodeau puts a lot of pressure where there's not needed pressure. He's a coach that is so stuck behind. He's about 10 years back. I know Brian Windhorst talked about how defenses are 10 years back in terms of catching up to the offense, and I feel like that's true. Tom Thibodeau is 10 years back, and it's just frustrating to watch, as I know that the Timberwolves last season, I had them as a 4th or 5th seed. They were predicted to do so well. A lot of people were like, you should watch out for this Minnesota Timberwolves team. Jimmy Butler was the final piece to this team, but instead, it's turned out to this mess. Jimmy Butler is now officially traded to the 76ers, which is obviously going to be a positive thing for the 76ers after what they have dealt with. But just going back to the Timberwolves for just a quick second, like I said, this is going to blow up in Tom Thibodeau's face. He's going to get fired. That's the next thing if I'm the Timberwolves I do. I fire him. I see what I can do to get rid of that Andrew Wiggins contract because it is obviously really, really bad, and there's no moving that piece, and I wish that they could move it because, frankly, he's not worth that money. As much as harsh that is, I think that you could save that money and get someone else in the 2019 free agency class. You could have done a lot more different things, but instead, you're here now where maybe even Karl-Anthony Towns demands a trade to get out of there. You're getting rid of stars, which is something that the Timberwolves were trying to get out of. They finally got out of it by getting the playoffs last season, and look at where they're at right now. Absolutely chaotic scenes. Now, let's see if the Timberwolves can go back and see if Karl-Anthony Towns can get back to that form. The form that a lot of GMs at one point said, I wanted to build my franchise around this guy according to some GM polls. And now let's talk about the 76ers, who I felt like got a steal for Jimmy Butler. I mean, the only thing that they traded away was Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and Jared Bayless, and a 2022 second-round pick for Jimmy Butler and Justin Patton. Obviously, a big steal, and if you guys have seen that gif of the apple getting, like, the really thin sliced apple, that is what I felt like the 76ers got Jimmy Butler for. It is absolutely a steal. Even if it's a rental, this is absolutely amazing for the 76ers that they were able to get this trade done, able to finally get over that stagnant feeling that I felt that they were at. Remember, they tried to get LeBron James, they tried to get Paul George, they tried to get Kawhi Leonard. They couldn't get any of those guys. Their Brian Colangelo, their GM, got fired because of some burner accounts information. So it felt like they took a step back. But now that they've added Jimmy Butler, it's finally going to be a competitive Eastern Conference where I feel like there are 4 teams that could legitimately go to the Eastern Conference Final and potentially either win or get destroyed by the Golden State Warriors. More likely than not going to get destroyed by the Golden State Warriors, depending on how serious the Warriors take the team. But at the same time, the 76ers have finally gotten someone who can stretch the floor, a 3-and-D guy, a big upgrade over Robert Covington. I've said this numerous times. I'm not really a big fan of Robert Covington. I know he was there in the losing years and they rewarded him with a big contract as such. But at the same time, he was just a guy that's not going to fit that team. He was struggling a little bit. I didn't really like him that much in the playoffs, but he's going to be a good addition to the Minnesota Timberwolves, just chemistry-wise, in terms of being a guy that won't rock the boat, who will just be even keel, stay with the stream. But one question that I have, though, is Jimmy Butler. Is he going to not be as aggressive and angry at guys such as Markelle Fultz and Ben Simmons, who are a little bit more laid back? And that's why I feel like Jimmy Butler really clashes heads with. If we remember, he clashed heads with Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. It just goes to show you that Jimmy Butler, and I know Chris Broussard said this on The Herd, so I'm going to say this here. He just reminds me of Chris Paul in terms of this. He really rubs teammates the wrong way. He gets people a little bit angry. He's really a heads-on type of guy, a guy that's very strong-minded. And it really rubs people off the wrong way. And he doesn't take blame for himself. At least that's what Chris Broussard said about Chris Paul. And I kind of want to relate that to Jimmy Butler because I feel that that is the same way Jimmy Butler is. A guy that wants it his way, is a guy that's hard-headed, but at the same time, he hasn't won anything. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense for those guys to be like, well, you didn't win anything, so why are you being so mad at us? Why are you being so angry? I mean, that is kind of the feeling I get with Jimmy Butler. Although I agree with his hard-headed, I agree with his old school mentality of terms of, I want to win, I want to be the best, I want to do whatever I can to get a championship. I love that mentality. But the way that he goes about it is something that I can't agree with myself, especially affecting guys such as not Jimmy Butler, but Karl-Anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins. Even though I don't like Andrew Wiggins, you still can't treat someone like that. Even though Andrew Wiggins, you could say, did it to himself with the way that him and his brother were going at Jimmy Butler just for who was going to be the number 1 option. But the 76ers, if they can get past that, if they can get past the Markelle Fultz situation, which we don't know what's going to go on with him. Is he going to stay on the team? How many minutes is he going to play? He's still probably the biggest X factor because we don't know that much about him yet, and we were going to find that much more about him, especially with Jimmy Butler on the team, see if they can coexist with one another, and that'll be a very interesting thing to see. But the 76ers obviously added a guy that can stretch the floor, play hard defense, and is a major upgrade over Dario Saric and Robert Covington. But I want to know in the comments down below your guys' opinion. Do you guys think that this was a great trade for Minnesota? Was it a great trade for the 76ers? Who won the trade? Who lost the trade? But anyway, guys, this has been your boy Bernie here on The Charge, giving you the latest NBA news and rumors and also basketball opinions. And guys, if you haven't seen our other videos, go and hit that, go into our channel, hit that video section and see what other videos you have missed. Of course, we have Fixer Upper videos. And also, guys, remember to hit that like and also comment, as it does help us get more notoriety for the channel and other people to view our channel. But anyway, guys, I'll catch you in the next video. Remember to hit that subscribe button. Peace.